What's up, guys? I'm catching up on some movies I missed back in 2017, and I just watched Brawl and Cell Block 99. Let's talk about it. A former boxer named Bradley loses his job and is worried about his marriage. At this crossroads in his life, he decides to work as a drug courier, but soon ends up in jail and is forced to commit savage acts of violence by his enemies in order to save his wife. Brawl in Cell Block 99 is written by Steve Zoller and stars Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Carpenter. Now, this film was wild. I can't say I was hooked from beginning to end, though, because one of the problems I had with this movie was the pacing. It felt like it was just a little too long. I feel like some scenes could have been cut a little shorter. But that being said, a lot of the scenes that we got to spend more time on actually worked really well. We get a lot of long takes of Vince Vaughn sort of after he's done something violent and he's just seething and sitting in his emotions. For example, after we see Bradley destroy his wife Lauren's car in the very beginning, we just get a lot of his emotion that he doesn't really show. We see a lot of his character in his actions and in the time that it takes for him to recuperate from something like this. Throughout the film, we see a lot of just his violence and his anger being taken out on people, but not much of his other emotions. And with these long shots, we get to dive a little more into him as a character. Also, when he's first being put into prison, we get these really long shots, and it's a very long sequence that we have to sit through. And I think that worked really well because it kind of put us in that position of being there with him. We kind of felt like we were in this long line that he kept getting sent to the back of. We feel like we've just been waiting and waiting and waiting to be put into prison with him. And we get these long takes of, him eating lunch or him sort of trying to fall asleep, and we feel like we're trapped in this cell along with him. With a movie titled Brawl in Cell Block 99, you think there's going to be a few little fights here and there and then one really big one at the end, and that's going to be the whole movie. But about the first hour of this movie is more focused on Vince Vaughn's character Bradley and his sort of motivations and his characterization. But by the end of it, we get this really well-rounded protagonist that we actually end up caring about, which I thought was pretty interesting. The way that the action scenes were filmed in this movie were phenomenal. They're very wide shots and they're very long takes, so you could tell that they were choreographed. But they're not choreographed like some other action films where it's very stylish and almost looks too choreographed. This feels raw and it feels real because it's more of a boxing type fight rather than a very stylized fight. I think Vince Vaughn did an amazing job of not only kind of beefing up for the role, but also getting into this mindset of this very closed off, anger-fueled human being. But he blew me away. I think he did an amazing job. This is definitely his best performance. Now, if you couldn't tell, I really enjoyed this movie, but there was one other thing that kind of bothered me, and that was the story at some points, especially when he got to the maximum security prison. Parts of that seemed really exaggerated, and I didn't really buy it. Now, I've never been to a maximum security prison, so I wouldn't know how it is there, but the fact that they have glass, like just shattered glass on the floor of his cell seems like a bit much. And I know that this is a movie and it's very exaggerated itself, so I'm not going to let it take away too much from my grade. I just thought a couple of the scenes seemed a little ridiculous for a movie that was so grounded up until now. Overall, I really enjoyed this film. I'm going to give it an A-. It was a fun, brutal film that I think you should all go check out sometime soon. It's definitely worth the watch. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for my review of Strangers Pray at Night.